The more research I do on this hire, the more I actually like it. And I'm not alone. Tons of coaches love Ross Hodge.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host, and this is Locked On West Virginia. Thanks for joining in as we go live again for the second time today to talk basketball with you. It's been a fun time. Going to be brought to you by Nissan today. The all-new 2025 Armada. Stay with us for the Armada Team of the Week later in the episode. Guys, as I've done more research, because I was cut off guard earlier when this hire went official, I was planning to report that the hire was going to be official at some point later on today or tomorrow. Like, I wasn't really expecting it to happen when it did, but then it did, which is like literally 5 minutes before I'm lucky I checked. I almost went live without checking. And I would have just been caught in the dark because I'd have been seeing it in the comments probably because it was that close to not finding out. So, I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for that, and I just kind of reacted in the moment. Now that I've had more time to look at this and process it, I think I see it for more of what it is. Ross Hodge is not your number one pick. He wouldn't be anybody's number one pick, even another mid-major, even another group of five school like North Texas probably wouldn't have Ross Hodge as the number one pick. And that's simply because of lack of experience. It's not because he's not a good coach. It's not because he hasn't coached good teams. It's not because he isn't a talented coach or a great team builder or any of that stuff, because he's shown to be that. Although he does have some stuff on his resume that's not great. He's only been at it for 2 years. You can say anything about anybody 2 years in, right? So 2 years in, Darren DeVries didn't have a tournament win, right? So like people wanted to pull that up like he's got no NCAA tournament wins. Like he's only got 2 years. Like it's just not a great argument in my opinion. So, look at the team he built this year at North Texas is completely rebuilt, totally from the ground up. Not one player returned. He's got a bunch of seniors that are really good, mixed in with some middle classmen, like kind of like Armani Hansberry aged players. And they play tough defense, obviously. And then they have Atten Wright, who obviously we know who that was as he came. If you don't remember Atten Wright, well, that's a Drake player that chose not to come to West Virginia, that went to North Texas and became one of their best players, and would sound like it was a pretty decent decision for him, but it would have been nice to have him in Morgantown along small, not going to lie. So on this episode, what we're going to go over is the coaching circles. What it's begun to kind of come out, what other people think of this hire. A lot of people speaking highly of it, which kind of surprised me. I thought there would be more questioning, but apparently Ross Hodge is more well thought of than I realized. And then what about portal targets from North Texas? I did a bunch of research on their team, watched a bunch of highlights. I wanted to see if there was anybody that would be worth salvaging from this year's team that's up towards in the Final Four of the NIT, that's won almost 27 games at this point. Is this going to be the year where we possibly bring in some players with the coach that's coming, right? Because it seems like every time we bring a coach in, it's like pulling teeth to get their players. Maybe this will be the one. So it's going to be fun, man. I'm really excited about that. So for me, let's go here first, actually, because I wanted to talk about this anyway. So you've got plenty of people here talking. So this is Scott Drew from Baylor. Ross is a tremendous coach and leader of young men. He will do a terrific job at West Virginia. He's a home run hire, and the Big 12 just got better. Dusty May from Michigan. West Virginia is hiring one of the best young coaches in the country. Ross possesses the grittiness, emotional intelligence, and humility to be successful at any level of basketball. He has won at every stop, and I can't imagine that changing in Morgantown. Couldn't be more excited for Ross and his family. Grant McCaslin from Texas Tech. Ross Hodge is the ultimate winner. He's an elite basketball coach and knows how to help teams be the best they can be on the court. The separator is his love for people and genuine relationships off the court that give him the trust required to hold his teams to championship level. He'll win big at West Virginia, but what I respect most is he's an awesome husband, father, and friend. Fran Priscilla, big friend of West Virginia. West Virginia made a very good hire in Ross Hodge. He's a very capable basketball coach, quietly super smart, competitive and smart. He's already been around coaches who have been successful in the Big 12, and I expect him to do the same in Morgantown. And he also had something else to say. Let me see if I can find it here because it was freaking hilarious, man. He basically says something to the effect of, and he's not just going to dip. He's just not going to bounce on you guys. And then that was great. You know, I loved seeing him say that. Let's see if I can find it. Well, let me read these first. Let's share screen with you. So, all right. So these are two quotes we got from Ren Baker and from Ross Hodge. It is with great honor and humility that I accept the head men's basketball coaching position at West Virginia University. I have such respect for the toughness, grit, and pride of the people of West Virginia. My hope is that we can reflect that with how our team competes on the court. I understand that great responsibility of coaching the tradition of Mountaineer basketball and sincerely appreciate the trust and belief of Ren Baker, Presidents Gee and Benson, and the rest of the administration. We loved our time in Denton and the many meaningful relationships established over the last 8 years. We are forever grateful for the opportunity afforded us by Jared Mosley. We believe we have everything we need to be successful in the challenge for Big 12 championships, baby, and looking forward to competing against the best coaches and best teams in the country. Shelley, Emery, Reed, and I can't wait to meet all of you. Ross Hodge, that heads men's basketball coach at West Virginia University. Proven winner, defensive mastermind, Mountaineer Nation will love the passion his players have for the game is the quote you get here from Ren Baker. Ross Hodge is a proven winner, leader, and has demonstrated success at every stop of his career. He's won more than 80% of his games as a head coach while establishing himself as one of the best defensive minds in the country. His teams play with toughness, grit. Mountaineer Nation will love the passion his players have for the game. More importantly, Ross is an incredible person and family man. His wife, Shelley, along with their children, Emery and Reed, will be great assets to our community and state. Please join me in welcoming the Hodge family to almost heaven. That's good stuff, guys. It really is, to me anyways. Fran Priscilla. Didn't want to spill the beans, but I think West Virginia Hoops made a very good hire in Ross Hodge. Very capable ball coach, quietly, super competitive and smart, and he's got an athletic director that has total faith in him. Don't see him cutting and running like the last guy. Darren DeVries. Oh, yes, baby. Yeah, baby. We love it, baby. We'd love to see that, baby. Two-time that, baby. So that made me excited to see that because at this point, my favorite pastime might be hating Darren DeVries. I know I'm taking it probably too personally. I've had a few people tell me that over the last couple of days because I had the family, I thought I was friends with his family. And so, I need to be careful because somebody told me, one of the things that keep me clean to this day is resentment, which resentment is the way I feel, right? It's one of we call it the triangle of self-obsession, and I don't want to get too deep into this as a basketball podcast. 3 core character defects that all addicts suffer from: fear, anger, and resentment. Fear of the future, anger of the present, resentment of the past. And sometimes I can be resentful over things that have happened in the past. And resentment is like drinking poison and expecting somebody else to die. And I have to remember that, and because it only hurts me. It doesn't hurt them. I can gnash teeth and be mad all I want to. Darren DeVries is at Indiana making millions of dollars. So that's the point I have to make, and that includes others as well. I let people get to me every day on the app and just different things, and sometimes I have to remind myself that, even though I want to be right in that moment, I want to be the most right. Sometimes it's not worth it. As a matter of fact, one of my other favorite sayings is lack of self acceptance comes along with the need to be right. In other words, if I accept myself totally and freely, I don't need to be right because I already have self acceptance, right? I don't need outside people to accept me because I accept myself. Self acceptance is a really tough place to get to as well, guys. Okay, so I did ban John Waffle, by the way, and I hope that doesn't make anybody mad. I've given him so many chances over the months, and unfortunately, he comes in here and distracting to see some of the comments he leaves, asking me why I act like a child. I have no idea what he's talking about. So some of these people come in here to just try to be mean. There's no reason to engage with it, right? So, and I'm not a preacher. I am somebody that's in recovery, and these little sayings to me are what keep me clean. Honestly, I believe in them wholeheartedly. And I say these things to myself, just like another one I say is, you're only as sick as your darkest secret. Secrets keep you sick, right? So, that's another thing. This is why I'm so honest all the time. Like on the podcast the other day, I said something about one time that I got in trouble for stealing a car, right? And, I think some people think that I'm embellishing those things, and I'm not. Obviously, it's something I'm not proud of those things. I'm not proud that I used to be that person, even though it's been a decade ago. Still something that I did, and I regret totally. I was trying to make it funny, and sometimes I have to remember that not everybody thinks those things are funny too. So anyway, I know I went way off track there. Sometimes I get on my tangents. You guys know that about me here. Let's move on. Let's go to break really quick. On the other side of the break, we'll talk basketball, I promise. Portal targets from North Texas. I spent about 2 hours pouring over some of their players. Is there anybody left for us to get in the portal from North Texas? Who would be worth looking at, or anybody else besides North Texas players? Well, we'll talk about that next. Stick around, guys. This is Locked On West Virginia. This episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades at Supply House. Whether you're plumbing and HVAC, doing electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with the complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 top brands, you're going to find exactly what you need, whether you like it or not, and it's going to be delivered fast from coast to coast like Javon Small on a steel and dunk. If you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support, industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. For trade pros looking for an edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are taking advantage. Why don't you? It's your turn now. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Use promo code S-5-H for 5% off your first order. Do it now. Do it today. Do it at supplyhouse.com. In segment 2, not cracking a dew, we're drinking iced coffee again. Yes, it's iced coffee. It's not creamer like some people thought yesterday. But I would like to have a dew. I just don't. I didn't get any cold, so probably one of my biggest defects is if Mountain Dew gets warm even a little bit, it's over with for me. I won't drink it anymore. It's my Mountain Dew, Dad. I paid for it. I used to have to dodge my dad because I would leave Mountain Dew cans everywhere, and he'd get so mad because he paid for it. I pay for it now, Dad. Let's talk portal. North Texas, having a good season, right? And I think there's some players in that roster that could help, just like with Rich Rod and the guys from Jacksonville State could come along and possibly help ease the transition, right? Possibly help with that defensive minded, uh, philosophy that Coach Hodge has. Well, players with eligibility remaining on that team, they have a few. So the best guy that they have is Brennan Lorient with eligibility remaining. They have a better players, but they're out of eligibility. Atten Wright being one of them. He's a junior forward at 6'9", 210 pounds. He averaged 11.9 points per game, 5 rebounds, 1.1 blocks per game, almost a steal per game, 47% from three. He's a forward, so we're talking about a stretch big here. 57% from the field, 70% from the free throw line, 20 to 25 minutes per game. So that's pretty good. That's jumping up from 2.2 points per game in 23-24. He's got 1 year eligibility remaining. The notes I have here is he had a massive leap in production this season. A breakout role or reserve role could be coming at West Virginia next season for this guy. I would absolutely make the call. You're averaging 12 points a game, a block a game, a steal a game, and 47% from three at North Texas. I think that's pretty good. I'll take him as a starting block here in the Big 12. Grant Newell is another guy they have, sophomore forward, 6'8", 220 pounds. He didn't play a lot. He's a sophomore, anywhere from 3 to 5 points a game is what I've got him projected out as next year with West Virginia. He's playing spot minutes in the AAC tournament. He's getting right around 2 to 3 rebounds per game. He averaged 5 points a game last year, 3 rebounds per game last year, shot 40% from the field, 30% from three, 62% from free throw line, and around 20 minutes per game. He does have 2 years remaining, and he transferred in from Cal, but the depth at North Texas is kind of gotten in his way. But he does have some upside. You got to be maybe as a depth piece down at the end of the bench, 12, 13. You bring a guy like him in, but I don't expect that to be the case. Jonathan Massey is a junior guard, 6'5", 195. Same situation, to be a depth piece. Now you get into their freshman. He's got Jordan Williams, who didn't play a ton this year. Obviously, he's got 3 years remaining. So they got another freshman, Fallou Cisse, 6'9", 250 pounds. 3 to 4 years. If he redshirts, he's got 4 years left. They've got a sophomore forward named Jaheim Hudson, who could possibly come, right around that 4 to 6 points per game, 3 to 4 rebounds per game. It's not great. Obviously, he was at SMU, though, where he averaged 3 points a game, 2 rebounds per game. He's got 2 years of eligibility remaining. So maybe you give him some minutes, and they got some walk-ons beyond that. So obviously, Brian Lorient is the clear star among these guys that has eligibility left. He's got double-digit scoring ability, elite shooting, prime candidate to follow Hodge to West Virginia. This is the star that you got to go after on this team. Not saying he's a star necessarily in the Big 12, but, if you could get him to, at that high percentage mark from three, you absolutely bring him in. And he's one of their best defenders. It says here, one of the best defenders in the conference. So the name Brennan, Brennen, Lorient is the name that I think we need to watch most. Definitely the guy that you would hope comes along with Coach Hodge, but at the end of the day, no guarantees. Don't know what the situation is going to be with this. He may have to rebuild from elsewhere. But here's what I noticed. I looked at this class, and and all the way down to Atten Wright, who we know at Drake was, one of their 2 or 3 best players last year, but it was at Drake. And so he kind of moves laterally to North Texas. He's shown the ability to recruit players at his own level and below. Like he's got guys from Longwood. He's got guys from SMU. He's got guys from Cal. And not all these guys are stars, but they all fit into an almost 30-win team that probably would have been problems for people if they got in the NCAA tournament. You saw how they played against the Big 12 in Oklahoma State. They beat them. They were leading most of that game. They were obviously the better team, although it was close at the end. But I felt like watching it, they were the better team. They just didn't have enough offense, really. And that's the big concern, obviously, here with this guy, with Hodge is, but I think with more ability to get more talent, you would hope that he can recruit. Because if you would think about it like this, at the group of 5 level or the mid-major level, you're probably going defensive heavy and hoping they can score a little bit, right? As to where at our level, you can get both. You can get guys like Javon Small. You can get guys like Jonathan Powell. You can get guys like Hansberry that can score and play defense. And I think at that level down below, you lean into the defense because you can win games with tough defense at that level, especially at any level, but definitely at the level they're playing at. So I think it's wait and see the kind of offenses he has. Do they have great spacing? Do they play with a bunch of different sets? Do they play 5 out? Not necessarily. They do some 5 out. I mean, you look at what they did with Lorian, for instance, and he's a stretch big, and they definitely pick and popped him. They use a lot of different screens and actions. So there's a lot. I think it's going to be fun to dissect it, figure out the pieces as they come in. Obviously, Isaac McNeely should be number 1, 2, and 3 on the priority list, along with Sincere Harris and this kid Lorian. I think that'd be an incredible start. If you can nail those 3 players, not even Hansberry, even though I love Hansberry, I would take him. Lorient's a better version of Hansberry than Hansberry, in my opinion. Is he a better down low player? Not necessarily, but he's a better stretch big. Shoots at 47% from out there. So I think that Isaac McNeely would be, in my opinion, number 1. You come after him first. It depends on if he wants to come home or not. If he does, that's where you go. He's from Poca. He'll be a couple hours from home. You got to try it. You do that, you got yourself an all Big 12 performer right off the bat, right out of the portal, an elite 3-point shooting guy that can play defense. Then you go Lorient. Then you go Sincere Harris. You can get those 3 guys. It's a great start. Let's go to break, guys. I'll give you my final thoughts. A couple other words right after this. This is Locked On West Virginia. Stick around.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by Monarch Money. That's right. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Well, between dining out, shopping, online entertainment, and all that good stuff, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's actually a complete financial command center where you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one simple place. So you just stop managing your money and start building your wealth. It's that simple. Easy collaboration is what they like here. Managing your money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can even track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. When I started using Monarch, I started realizing just how much I was spending on food delivery. It was a lot. Now I budget smarter and save more. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for half off your first year. All right, guys. Been a fun episode, obviously. I love talking portal. It's one of my favorite topics, obviously, because, breaking down players, talking about what's going on the court. That's the beauty of sport, right? That's where it's at for me. I don't really care about – I do care, but do I like talking about the coaching search every single day? Not really. I mean, it was kind of painful to try to get up and talk about the same thing every day. So I'm glad we'll be able to focus right into this transfer portal deal. Questions that I have that I didn't actually, and I'm sorry because I've been starting to. If you noticed on my videos, I've been putting the timeline at the bottom so it shows you what you can fast forward to. It's not down to a science yet. I'm still kind of messing around with it. Like I think in segment 2, I was supposed to have this question I'm about to ask about Chester Frazier. I think this is a question, right? Is Chester Frazier going to come back? It's a question a lot of people want to know. I had a source close to the situation tell me no, that this probably wasn't going to happen. Now, I will admit that I think it's potentially that was an answer out of emotion. I can't go deep into this because this is a source that I just can't out, right? But if I'm ever able to, I'll go deeper into it. But obviously, this is somebody that's, if you can just imagine, this is somebody that's going to be close to that situation, that knows what's going on 1,000%. This is not a player. This is not a media guy. Like, this is somebody that knows what's up. So, when I asked them about Frazier, the answer was not if it's Hodge. And they weren't a fan of Hodge. But I suspect it was because, it wasn't who they wanted to be the guy. So, there was a lot of people that wanted Calhoun. There were some that wanted Frazier, right? And I think there's some people that have some hurt feelings that maybe Frazier didn't get a bigger look or a better look. You compare Chester Frazier's overall resume to Hodges, and some people felt like it's better, even though as an assistant he hasn't coached any games yet. But you take out the 2 years from as a head coach, which, don't get me wrong, that's big. And to Ren, it's big. But you take out those 2 years from Ross Hodge, and then Chester Frazier kind of dominates that, right? So I think people thought it was closer, and Chester deserved a bigger look. I don't know why. How to best to put this, man. I don't know why Chester won't give us a look. I don't know why. I think there's a good reason for him to stay. I think that instead of going and starting over somewhere else, you invest in him. You give him the Chad Scott treatment. You give him a big contract. You say, look, man, you're an associate head coach. You're going to just be like with Darren DeVries, like you are a second in command. That's just basically it. You're going to have some skin in the game. You're going to be some of this is going to be at stake for you too. We need you here. We need you to re-recruit the players that have left and help us get those. There's so much for him to offer this season. Now, beyond the season, I can't say, but this season there was 3 4-star recruits and the players left on the roster that would have probably been intact for 60, 70% if you include the high school players, if Chester Frazier chosen to stick around. Unfortunately, that is not the case, right? And I think we'll see what's going to happen with this. Getting boots on the ground, working on the portal now is extremely important. And Ross Hodge is still coaching. As a matter of fact, this is another thing I wanted to talk about. Where's your panic meter? Because Ross Hodge is going to coach his team out. And, like Drake over at Locked On Big 12 said, that shows a certain loyalty. There's a lot of coaches that would have said, okay, I'm out here, you assistant coach. You coach them the rest of the way. It's just the NIT. But it's not just the NIT to those kids or that program. If we were West Virginia fans, I don't know if I would care as much. If a guy was leaving, he was leaving. But he wants to finish the season out. And it does show some loyalty, unlike Darren DeVries. But so I had mixed feelings on it, but here's how you mitigate it. You get Chester Frazier and you hand him the reins for the next week or so, and let him coordinate with Hodge on days that, in the evenings or whenever, and let him look at some players when he has time so they can have input and just let Chester Frazier go. And that's how you do this. Otherwise, everybody that could be an assistant at North Texas right now, are you telling me he's not going to bring those coaches with him? Maybe he doesn't. Maybe there is a staff that isn't Big 12 ready. And, there's word out there that Wren may help, Ross Hodge along as far as assistants go because of his connections and all that. Well, I can't think of a better start than Chester Frazier. So I can't explain to you how important I think it is personally for Chester Frazier to stick around, even if he doesn't want to. You can pay a guy, right? Like, even if he's upset that he can get the job or he's mad that maybe Calhoun didn't get it or whatever. Not putting words in his mouth. I don't know if that's the case. Although I do pretty sure he's upset he didn't get it. Hopefully you can talk him into sticking around because I do believe personally that it's a big deal. So we'll keep monitor on that. I'll ask around. Certainly I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but it's going to be fun to monitor, guys. And look, we got the portal obviously in both sports now. West Virginia going to be adding players in two sports. That's going to be fun. Rich Rod's got to cut the roster down to 105. Although not fun for him, it's going to be fun for us to cover and try to dive in and figure out who he's going to keep, who he's not going to keep. So there's going to be a lot of content coming your way. All I ask is that you like the video. Just move your thumb a couple seconds or move your finger, whatever. Share the video out. What else is there to it? I thought there was something else I wanted to talk about, but I guess not. Like the video, share the video out. Obviously, subscribe. I don't think there's anything else to talk about, guys. Somebody in the comments, I'm not supposed to address comments, guys, for Locked On. I do look over every now and again, but generally I'm not supposed to. It's just they don't like that. So if you need to get a hold of me, you can try to contact me over at Paul Mountaineer. We're on X. But like if you're pretending to be Fran if you're pretending to be Fran Priscilla and you messaged me or something like that, I responded and then realized what it was all about. You didn't get me. So there'll be no more messages going back and forth to that account. And as a matter of fact, the person that's asking about it can be banned because obviously it was them. So this person. So good for you, buddy. You did good. You got me to possibly think you were Fran for 5 seconds. But other than that, guys, I don't have a lot else. I'll talk to you probably, unless something happens tonight, if we get some news about Frazier or something like that. I can't see much else to really talk about. So probably be tomorrow before we talk again. But hey, it's been fun covering the search. Thank you guys for supporting the show. We did literally over almost a couple 100,000 views over the last week plus covering this, which is really good. So it's been productive. We've gained close to 500 subscribers, I think, over this point in time. Made some good money too, which is always important. So we're on pace to do pretty big numbers this month. So can't thank you guys enough for all that. And it's how we feed the family, right? So you guys help me do that. I appreciate it. I think that's all I got. It's been fun. Like I said, congrats to Ross Hodge. I'm looking forward to him coming to Morgantown. I'm a little worried about him coaching this NIT, but I think we're going to be okay, guys. We need to get boots on the ground soon, and we'll keep you updated on that, guys. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen. Do me a favor, make Locked On College Basketball your next listen. Isaac Shade, Andy Patton, they do it big. Oh, yes, they do. March is here. Be the most educated college basketball fan there is today. That's at Locked On College Basketball, wherever you get your podcasts and right here on YouTube. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Have a great evening. Have a great week. I'm out.